Bloody Mary. The Bloody Mary legend taps into humanity's ancient fascination with mirrors as portals to the supernatural realm. This ritual, typically performed in darkness with only candlelight, represents our deep-seated desire to connect with the unknown while testing our courage against primal fears. The legend's power lies in its psychological impact. Staring into a mirror in dim lighting creates the perfect conditions for the Troxler effect, where peripheral vision fades and distorts. Combined with fear and the brain's pattern recognition tendencies, this can result in perceived changes in the reflection. What makes this legend enduring is its interactive nature. Unlike passive ghost stories, Bloody Mary demands participation, creating personal investment. The various versions of her origin, from a murdered witch to a grieving mother, reflect different cultural fears and social purposes. The Hook Man. The Hook Man legend emerged during the 1950s, capturing the social anxieties of post-war America. At its core, it's a morality tale about teenage sexuality, parental warnings, and the price of ignoring social norms. The hook symbolizes intrusion and violation, while the rural setting plays into urban fears of dangers in less civilized areas. The killer's prosthetic hook reflects both physical and psychological scars of war, symbolizing unease with returning veterans. Most significantly, the hook found attached to the car door suggests a narrow escape from consequences, reinforcing the idea that ignoring societal warnings could have fatal results. The legend's endurance speaks to its effectiveness in addressing vulnerability and rebellion.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Slender Man. Unlike traditional urban legends, Slender Man is a deliberately created digital myth that transcended its origins to become a modern folklore phenomenon. Created in 2009 on an internet forum, Slender Man embodies modern fears about child safety in the digital age. His appearance, unnaturally tall, faceless, in a business suit, represents both corporate anonymity and online threats. The legend's rapid spread shows how modern technology has changed folklore evolution. Through collaborative storytelling, artwork, and video games, Slender Man became a shared cultural touchpoint. Tragic real-world incidents, inspired by the legend, highlight the influence of Internet-age mythology on vulnerable minds. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. This legend, found in virtually every culture, speaks to universal human experiences of loss, regret, and the thin line between the living and the dead. The story's persistence across cultures suggests it addresses fundamental human concerns about death and unfinished business. The hitchhiker's appearance as a young woman in white symbolizes innocence and tragedy, while her mysterious disappearance represents the sudden, inexplicable nature of death itself. Most versions end with the discovery that the hitchhiker died years ago, creating a poignant commentary on how past tragedies ripple through the present. The legend also highlights human kindness, suggesting that compassionate acts sometimes intersect with forces beyond our understanding. Crocodiles in the sewers. This enduring urban legend perfectly encapsulates the intersection of urban fears and plausible circumstances. The idea of apex predators lurking beneath city sewers speaks to our primal fears about nature reclaiming civilization spaces. The origin story involving unwanted exotic pets being flushed down toilets reflects real issues of irresponsible pet ownership and human impact on urban ecosystems. Occasional true stories of alligators found in unusual places reinforce the folklore. The persistence of this legend reveals our ambivalence about urban living cities separate us from nature's dangers, but the possibility of wild threats infiltrating our environments haunts us. The sewer system symbolizes the thin barrier between civilization and chaos. The Black Volga. This legend from Eastern Europe illustrates how urban legends can embody specific historical and political anxieties. The black car, specifically a Volga, symbolized state power and oppression. The villains associated with the vehicle, KGB agents, priests, vampires, organ traffickers, reflect different periods of social fear, political repression, religious persecution, and post-Soviet anxieties about exploitation. The evolution of the legend from Soviet-era political commentary to a modern cautionary tale about organ trafficking demonstrates how urban legends adapt while maintaining themes of powerlessness against shadowy authorities. KUCHISAKE-ONNA, the slit-mouthed woman. The legend of KUCHISAKE-ONNA emerged in Japan during the 1970s, but its themes tap into much older Japanese folklore traditions and modern social anxieties. But the story centers on a woman wearing a surgical mask, a common sight in Japan, who approaches victims with the question, "Am I beautiful?" The legend's power lies in its layered social commentary. The woman's mutilated mouth, often described as being slit from ear to ear, represents the pressure of beauty standards in Japanese society. Her use of a surgical mask traditionally worn to prevent illness becomes a tool of deception, playing on the tension between public presentation and private reality. The story gained particular resonance during Japan's rapid modernization, when traditional values clashed with changing social norms. The various versions of her origin story, from a samurai's unfaithful wife to a modern surgery gone wrong, reflect different historical anxieties about women's roles and beauty standards. What makes this legend particularly effective is its no-win scenario. Responding that she's beautiful or ugly both lead to violent consequences, suggesting the impossible standards women face. The only escape routes in the legend, such as giving ambiguous answers or offering candy, represent the social complexity of navigating beauty expectations. The legend has evolved to address contemporary issues, with modern versions incorporating themes of plastic surgery and social media pressure. Its endurance speaks to the universal struggle with beauty standards and the price of vanity, while its Japanese context adds specific cultural dimensions about conformity and social masks. The kidney heist. This modern legend perfectly encapsulates contemporary fears about globalization, medical tourism, and the dark side of technological advancement. The story typically involves a business traveler or tourist who accepts a drink from a stranger, only to wake up in a bathtub full of ice with a note warning them to seek medical attention. The setting in foreign countries plays on xenophobic fears and anxieties about vulnerable Americans abroad. The surgical precision of the kidney removal represents fears about the dark possibilities of medical technology when divorced from ethics. The ice-filled bathtub detail adds clinical horror to the scenario while making it seem more plausible. The legend gained particular traction in the 1990s alongside news reports about real organ trafficking rings, demonstrating how urban legends often interweave with actual events to enhance their credibility. The story taps into deeper fears about bodily autonomy and the commodification of human life in a global market economy. What makes this legend especially powerful is its connection to real-world issues of medical inequality and organ shortages. The vast price difference between legally and illegally obtained organs, combined with genuine cases of organ trafficking, gives the story a foundation in reality that many urban legends lack. The legend also serves as a cautionary tale about vulnerability in foreign environments and the dangers of accepting drinks from strangers, making it both a reflection of genuine concerns and a practical warning. Its persistence reflects ongoing anxieties about medical ethics, global inequality, and the human body as a commodity. La Llorona, the Weeping Woman. La Llorona represents one of Latin America's most enduring and complex legendary figures, combining elements of indigenous mythology, colonial history, and universal themes of love, betrayal, and maternal guilt. The core story of a woman who drowns her children in revenge against their father and is condemned to eternally search for them resonates across cultural boundaries. The legend's power derives from its psychological depth. The weeping woman embodies the tragic consequences of unchecked passion and the weight of maternal guilt, her eternal search for her children, accompanied by her distinctive cry, "Ay, Miss Hijos." "Oh, my children" represents both punishment and penance, speaking to deep cultural beliefs about redemption and eternal consequences. As a cautionary tale, La Llorona serves multiple purposes. Parents use it to warn children about the dangers of wandering near water at night, while the broader narrative addresses themes of infidelity, revenge, and the sacred nature of maternal love. The legend's setting near bodies of water connects it to universal human fears about drowning and the unknown depths. The story has evolved to reflect different social contexts. Some versions present her as an indigenous woman betrayed by a Spanish conquistador, making the legend a metaphor for colonial violence and cultural loss. Others emphasize her role as a cautionary figure for young women about the dangers of passionate love and betrayal. Modern interpretations have connected the legend to contemporary issues such as domestic violence and maternal mental health. The endurance of La Llorona in popular culture, from films to literature, demonstrates how ancient legends can continue to address modern social concerns while maintaining their core emotional impact. The spider bite. The spider bite legend taps into fundamental human fears about invasion of the body and the hidden dangers lurking in exotic locations. This urban legend typically involves a tourist who receives what seems like an innocent spider bite, only to discover later that it's become a nest for hundreds of baby spiders. The power of this legend lies in its exploitation of arachnophobia, one of humanity's most common fears. The idea of spiders nesting under human skin combines two primal fears: the fear of spiders and the fear of body invasion. The gradual revelation of horror from a simple bite to the eruption of countless spiders creates a building sense of dread that makes the story particularly memorable. What makes this legend especially effective is its pseudo-scientific plausibility. While experts confirm that spiders don't lay eggs under human skin, the existence of various parasitic insects that do use humans as hosts gives the story just enough credibility to seem possible. The legend often includes specific details about exotic spider species or tropical locations, adding a veneer of authenticity. The story also plays into broader anxieties about travel to foreign places and the perceived dangers of the exotic other. The setting in tropical or distant locations reflects Western fears about the dangers lurking in uncivilized parts of the world, making it a reflection of both colonialism and modern tourism anxieties. The legend has evolved with modern globalization, with versions appearing on social media often accompanied by graphic but fake photos. Its persistence reflects ongoing fears about the natural world's capacity to infiltrate and corrupt the human body, particularly in an era of increasing global travel and emerging diseases. The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. This chilling urban legend strikes at the heart of suburban safety myths and represents one of the most influential modern horror stories. Its power lies in transforming a supposedly safe domestic space into a scene of terror, challenging our assumptions about security in familiar environments. The story's genius lies in its gradual build-up of tension. The babysitter, typically a teenage girl, receives increasingly disturbing phone calls while watching children in someone else's home. The revelation that the calls are coming from inside the house creates a paradigm shift in the victim's perception of safety, mirroring real-world revelations about domestic dangers. The legend emerged during a period of increasing suburban development and growing reliance on teenage babysitters, reflecting societal anxieties about leaving children with young caregivers. It also addresses broader fears about the vulnerability of young women and the potential dangers lurking within seemingly secure middle-class homes. What makes this legend particularly effective is its use of technology, the telephone, as both a warning system and a source of terror. The phone calls create a false sense of distance between the threat and the victim, making the revelation of the killer's proximity more shocking. Modern versions have adapted to include mobile phones and security cameras, demonstrating the legend's ability to evolve with technology. The story has profoundly influenced popular culture, inspiring numerous films and television episodes. Its endurance speaks to its successful combination of relatable elements: babysitting, phone calls with primal fears about isolation and vulnerability, while also serving as a cautionary tale about the importance of vigilance even in seemingly safe situations. The Green Man Charlie No Face. Unlike many urban legends, the Green Man's story has its roots in a documented historical figure, making it a unique blend of fact and folklore. This legend centers on a mysterious glowing figure seen walking along rural roads at night, reportedly causing terror among late-night drivers and teenagers seeking thrills. The real story behind the legend involves Raymond Robinson, a man severely disfigured by an electrical accident in his childhood. During the day, he lived a reclusive life, but at night he would take walks along rural Pennsylvania roads, becoming an unintentional local legend. His story transformed from a tragic human interest tale into a supernatural myth through oral tradition and exaggeration. What makes this legend particularly poignant is how it reflects society's treatment of those who are different. The transformation of a real person's tragedy into a supernatural tale speaks to human tendency to mythologize what we don't understand or what makes us uncomfortable. The addition of the glowing element to the story likely came from the phosphorus-tipped matches Robinson used while walking at night. The legend serves as a commentary on isolation and how difference can breed mythology. Robinson's night walks, chosen to avoid frightening people during daylight, became the foundation for a ghost story that continues to circulate. The various versions of the tale, some portraying him as malevolent and others as tragic, reflect different societal attitudes toward disfigurement and disability. Modern retellings often emphasize the human element of the story, using it as a teaching moment about compassion and the dangers of judging by appearance. The legend's evolution from a story meant to frighten to one that promotes understanding demonstrates how urban legends can serve changing social purposes over time. The Well to Hell. The Well to Hell legend, which gained massive popularity in the 1990s, represents a fascinating intersection of scientific exploration, religious belief, and modern media spread. The story claims that Russian scientists drilled so deep into the Earth's crust that they actually penetrated hell itself, recording the screams of the damned on sophisticated equipment. What makes this legend particularly compelling is its clever mixture of scientific fact and religious imagery. The story originated during a period of increased interest in deep drilling projects, including the real Kola superdeep borehole in Russia. The legend took this scientific reality and merged it with traditional religious concepts of hell being physically located beneath the Earth's surface. The alleged audio recording of screaming souls became one of the first viral internet phenomena, spreading through early email chains and websites. The sound clip, actually altered audio from a horror movie, demonstrates how modern technology can lend credibility to urban legends while simultaneously providing new channels for their dissemination. The legend speaks to deeper human anxieties about scientific overreach and the potential consequences of human ambition. It suggests that there are some boundaries that shouldn't be crossed, even in the pursuit of knowledge. The story also plays into Cold War-era suspicions about Russian scientific experiments and the fear that technology might accidentally unleash supernatural forces. Most significantly, this legend represents one of the first examples of how the internet can transform local folklore into global mythology almost overnight, setting the pattern for many modern urban legends that would follow. The Ghost in the School Photo. The ghost in the school photo legend taps into our complex relationship with photography and its ability to capture unexpected truths. This enduring legend typically involves a class photograph where, upon later inspection, an extra figure appears, often identified as a student who died before the photo was taken. The power of this legend lies in photography's historical association with truth, telling, and evidence. While modern digital manipulation has made us more skeptical of photos, the legend often involves older, pre-digital photographs, playing on their perceived authenticity. The school setting adds another layer of credibility, as most people have experience with class photos and can relate to the scenario. The psychological impact of the legend stems from how it combines the ordinary school photos with the extraordinary supernatural presence. The delayed discovery of the ghost, usually noticed only after the photo is developed or examined later, creates a sense of uncanny revelation, suggesting that supernatural events might be happening around us unnoticed. Many versions of the legend connect the ghostly figure to tragic school events, reflecting societal anxieties about child safety in educational settings. The ghost often represents unresolved trauma or hidden histories within seemingly ordinary institutions. Modern versions sometimes incorporate themes of school violence, showing how urban legends adapt to contemporary fears. The endurance of this legend in the digital age, despite increased awareness of photo manipulation, speaks to our continued desire to find evidence of the supernatural in everyday life. The Black-Eyed Children. The Black-Eyed Children, or Beck legend, represents one of the most successful modern urban legends, combining elements of traditional supernatural encounters with contemporary fears. The story typically involves children with completely black eyes who appear at homes or cars, asking to be let in with an unnaturally adult-like demeanor. What makes this legend particularly effective is its subversion of childhood innocence. Children, typically seen as vulnerable and in need of protection, sources of terror, become the complete blackness of their eyes symbolizes a void of humanity, while their polite but insistent requests to enter homes play on both our instinct to help children and our fear of strangers. The legend gained significant traction through internet forums and social media, demonstrating how modern communication platforms can rapidly spread and evolve folklore. Unlike many traditional urban legends, Beck stories often focus on the overwhelming sense of dread their presence creates, rather than on actual violence or harm, making them more psychologically sophisticated. The timing of these encounters, often at night or during storms, and the settings usually in liminal spaces like doorways or parked cars, draw on traditional folklore elements about supernatural encounters. However, the modern suburban setting and the emphasis on personal testimony give the legend contemporary relevance. The Black-Eyed Children legend also reflects modern parental anxieties about child safety and stranger danger, but inverts them by making the children themselves the threat. This inversion speaks to deeper fears about the corruption of innocence in modern society and our increasing isolation from our communities.